Hello again, everybody. Barry Hyatt here at the UK Extension Office in Scottsville with my good friend Janet Johnson. Janet, welcome back.
Well, thank you so much, Barry. I've missed you guys, and
Yes.
it is good to be back with our friends here in the North Central viewing community.
Most certainly. And of course, today we have a wonderful recipe for the spring, don't we?
We do. It's an old favorite, Barry. I want to bring it back because I want to talk about how you can really make it versatile.
Yes.
And we can do some do-ahead types of things that carry from spring all the way through summer.
Fantastic. That sounds
So
great.
here we go. This is one of my family's favorite plated up Kentucky Proud recipes,
Yes.
and that is the broccoli and grape pasta salad.
Okay.
Now, we often think of pasta salads of having kind of an Italian type of taste with a vinaigrette and maybe some tomatoes and green peppers. And yes, you can do it, but how about we switch it up with fruits and vegetables
Sure.
in the pasta salad? And again, kind of make a variation on a vinaigrette to make it a little bit of sweet to go with that fruit and vegetable combination. And so we're going to give you the formula today. We will enjoy this at my family all through the spring and summer. It's always a favorite at some Easter lunches that we have, but we enjoy it all summer long. So I want to go back and say, once we've done plated up recipes, there are always ways to go back into the recipe file at North Central's archives,
Sure.
pull out a favorite and make a variation on it.
Most
so that's
certainly.
what we hope you will do today with
Most
this
certainly.
recipe.
Yes.
Absolutely. So the basis of this recipe, Barry, is to simply pick a green vegetable for spring
Yes.
and pick a fruit
Okay.
to go with it, and that becomes the foundation of the fruit vegetable combination. Then we look at a pasta.
Okay.
And I love the combinations that use whole grain pastas, especially pastas that have unique varieties and unique shapes, and to try things to encourage kids to eat more vegetables
Most
as
certainly.
well. So what I've done today is I have, and you'll notice on the recipe card, this salad will actually feed a fairly large family.
Okay. Good
Okay?
deal.
And with pasta salad, sometimes leftovers can be okay, but sometimes they begin to get a little soggy. So I'm of the persuasion with pasta salad, you make as you go.
Sure.
So what I encourage people to do is when you're making pasta or working with bacon or chopping some things, is that you put those in individual bags and maybe have the recipe for a smaller family meal. And then that gives you the variety of options that you can use with the pasta or the vegetables to maybe go beyond a salad and maybe do a skillet dinner
Sure.
or something else. But you're using your time efficiently to cook more than just 8 ounces.
Right.
Or think about 8 ounces with 2 salads or 2 different options like that for a smaller family. The same thing goes for the vegetable that you do when you're chopping the vegetables. Think, okay, this calls for broccoli florets, and it calls basically here for a pound of fresh broccoli, and most people say, what is that in cups? Well, you know, a pound and a half, 2 pounds, just think about a cup to 2 cups, you know, depending on what you have.
Right.
So you could even use 1 stalk of broccoli if that's all you have left, and you might add a little more pasta. So use what you have
Right.
and use some combinations. Now I'll tell you another vegetable in the spring that I almost put in this. It's not called for in the recipe, but let's say you don't have enough broccoli. What about some green onion?
Sure.
We use onion in the salad dressing, but we might use it in the salad and kind of pull it out of the salad dressing.
Sure.
So all of these basic ingredients with this recipe can be used in a very versatile variety of ways.
And you were saying earlier today, before we started recording this segment, we're using grapes today, but you could use other fruits as well too.
Absolutely. So I've chosen red grapes today. You might use black grapes, not green grapes if we're going for green vegetables,
Sure.
but we might want to use strawberries or blueberries, etc. Whatever combination is very versatile. Now, often today, I even thought about adding some mandarin oranges.
Oh wow, that would have been
Even
good
to
too.
this salad,
Sure.
okay? But we're keeping it simple with the recipe, but that's what we want to encourage people to take from this segment today, is here's kind of a formula using an old favorite, but you can really make it different. Absolutely can. Asparagus also would have been great in
Yes.
this recipe
Yes.
today. And to combine that with strawberries and blueberries, using the bacon, the pecans, and the vinaigrette, and you'd have a whole different salad, but the same type of recipe.
Most certainly.
There we
yeah.
go. So let's get started. What we've done is pre-cook, of course, the pasta according to package directions, and 8 ounces of pasta That will give you approximately 2.5 cups in terms of that. Some people like to say, well, that's about half a box in terms of what we use for the main recipe here.
Sure.
I would go ahead, if you want to have a less pasta salad, pull out portions of the pasta that you can use in another way throughout the week.
Sure.
So that's your other option there, and I've saved some back to use in a different way myself. So then I've added that pound of broccoli that you can see here, and that's going to give you about approximately 1.5 cups to 2 cups,
Okay.
depending on what you have. And we've actually taken that broccoli and cut it up and even cut finer in terms of the florets that are a part of that stem of broccoli, so that it's not so overpowering. This is not, again, steamed broccoli as a vegetable side. This is a
Right.
salad, so you want your pieces to be proportional like
Right,
that.
sure.
And so the same thing goes with the grapes. We've done 2 cups of seedless red grapes. I did have these, but it depends on the size of the grape sometimes.
Sure.
So I'm going to go ahead and have these and just add this. This makes a great colorful salad, I might say, as well.
I would guess
Notice the
seedless would be
combinations.
a necessity, would it not?
It would. Some people will argue that they like the flavor of seeded grapes. Well, you go at that. You know? My parents for years did fruit salad for the holidays, and they wanted seeded grapes, and they would labor and labor to get those seeds
Oh,
out.
my
But
goodness.
they would swear that it tastes better. I can't tell the difference myself.
I would
But
be too
anyway.
lazy to do that.
I know it. Me too, Barry. Me too. Now, again, to add some different texture to this very basic recipe right here, a fruit, a vegetable, some pasta, we're going to add a little bit of bacon.
Sure.
The recipe will talk about turkey bacon. That's a great option if you're looking at lower fat, lower cholesterol.
Right.
I like to use regular bacon sparingly,
Yes.
you know, because I love that flavor.
I agree.
There too.
I'm the same way.
So I'm going to add the regular bacon here that I have just simply fried to a crispy state, and we're going to add that for flavor. And then I've toasted some pecans, Barry. I always put a plug in for the Allen County homemakers who
Sure.
sell Shermer's pecans from Georgia.
Yes.
And believe me, the flavor is exceptional. Those fresh pecans, you just can't beat it, and you can freeze
Right.
those.
Oh,
so
yes.
don't ever miss an opportunity to buy those great Georgia pecans. But in a pinch, go to the grocery and you can get those. So we're adding some toasted pecans, and that means you simply put your oven about 375 for about 5 minutes. Watch them carefully, they will burn quickly.
Okay.
And simply heat those to kind of bring out the flavors. That the heating releases the flavor of that pecan, and it's just great. And it also adds a crispier texture in the salad, and that's a wonderful thing too. Okay, so there we are. That's our basic salad, and you can see we're going to be able to serve several people with
Most
this.
certainly.
Now, to make a simple dressing, we know that there's nothing quicker than an oil and vinegar vinaigrette, where you take oil and vinegar fairly proportionally and then just whisk that together.
Sure.
We're today going to make a creamier version of an oil and vinegar dressing by we're adding a little low-fat mayo. It's critically important that you use a fairly fresh mayo. And I know I'm a stickler at home sometimes for letting things sit on the shelf to get the last ounce of value out of something. But believe me, you need a good fresh mayo,
Okay.
you know, for a salad dressing.
Yes.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yes, so don't skimp on that. You know, buy the smaller versions if you don't use them very often. And just remember, and a low-fat version is just as good as a regular, I think. Now, that's a preference, but I
Now,
love it.
You're using the low-fat mayo. Would you ever consider maybe like the Greek yogurt, or is it better with mayo for this type of dressing for this
Well,
salad?
let's talk about that. It's a texture thing.
Okay.
It's a texture and a taste. And you know, we have done dressings using a Greek yogurt. A Greek yogurt has a great texture as well. It's the smoothness of the texture that will get you. With a fruit salad, I think the yogurts are fine. Again, the texture is very similar to this
Okay.
low-fat mayo. So I think it just depends
Okay.
on the texture that you
And,
want.
and maybe your taste preference, probably.
Your taste preference, but definitely if you are looking for a dietary substitute, yogurt, especially Greek yogurt, I feel, has a great texture. I love Greek yogurt.
Oh, I do too.
A lot of people will say, oh, no, it's got too much body. And I'm like, but that's what makes it good. That's what makes it great.
I agree.
It's a heartier more proteinier, if that's really a word.
Right.
Okay, so what we've done, we've had a little bit of diced red onion already here in just a little mixing bowl that I just kind of put together with the mayo, and I'm going to put that back over on the salad. And then we're simply going to add some vinaigrette or vinegar. We're making a vinaigrette in a sense. So the old standby is to use a red wine vinegar. Okay? And about a fourth to a half a cup, depending on the texture that you want. So I'm just going to add that. I'm kind of doing this to taste and to texture, all right? Not measuring it. Now, with all the flavored vinegars that are out today, I would super encourage you to experiment. And I'll tell you, one of my favorites that I'm going to more and more is a pomegranate vinaigrette.
Yes. Oh, yes. Very healthy, I would think.
It's delicious. And it adds a little more sweetness. So if you use the sweeter vinaigrettes that come from fruits, which of course red wine does too, but it's a little more tart, then I would back off on the honey.
Okay.
Okay? Because that
Makes
can make
sense.
it really overpoweringly sweet like that.
Right.
But you can see that all we're doing is mixing enough to kind of give a softer texture
Yes.
to the mayo. And the thickness, I like to not be too thin, because when you start adding to your salad, the water content of many of your fruits especially tends to let go as it sits, and it tends to get a little watery. So I like to start thicker.
I understand
And then
that,
I'm
yep.
going to add just a little bit of honey. This recipe wants you to use about a fourth a cup. I would do it to taste. And of course, if you're using more fruits, you're going to get more sugar. But this gives a nice, smooth dressing that we're going to add to all of our fruits and vegetables and pasta. So I'm going to just kind of give these a little bit of a turn here to combine. This is beautiful salad.
Very pretty.
Very
And you know, one thing
pretty.
we didn't mention, but now you don't actually, I don't think you do, you don't cook the broccoli, do you?
I do not.
It's just raw.
The only thing that we, quote, cook is the pasta.
Pasta, gotcha.
Yes.
That's what I was
And I
thinking.
would urge you to cook it to the, what we call al dente, or the very kind of firm stage.
Sure.
Because once again, as this salad sits, it will soften when you add the dressing with the mayo base.
Gotcha.
So you don't want to kind of limp out everything.
Right.
You know, and it is a salad. You know, it's not a casserole.
Correct.
Like that too. Okay, so all we're going to do now is add this really pretty,
It really is.
really, really pretty dressing. And don't add this dressing. This is kind of make ahead again. You could have everything we've just put together, set it in the refrigerator. But about 30 minutes before you serve, add the dressing, and you're good to go.
Gotcha.
Let the flavors absorb just a little. But you don't want salads to sit and marinate in
Right.
this dressing. This
Right.
is not a marinated salad. And so we only want to do it to coat, let it sit about 30 minutes before serving, and you are good to go with a wonderful, wonderful fruit-vegetable pasta combination that can be your foundation for salads throughout the summer.
I think I'm gonna have to try this at home one of these days. That looks outstanding.
Well, it's just, again, a favorite at our household.
I can see
Especially
why.
for spring and summer meals. So we invite you to take advantage of this great recipe and to plate it up Kentucky Proud.
Kentucky Proud, exactly.
With a Tennessee flavor.
With a Tennessee twist, maybe a
Yes,
little bit.
there we go.
Well, hey guys, if you want the recipe so easy to get, you can get it in a few ways. You can email me at North Central. My email address there is barry.hyatt@nctc.com, or you simply can go to our website, as Janet mentioned previously, not only this recipe, but we've archived all the recipes on www.nctc.com. And also, Janet, you have another way of getting this recipe.
Absolutely. You can always go to your favorite search engine. You can Google or other ways to plate it up Kentucky Proud recipes. Just Google that, and a whole database of recipes and lots of useful tools will be there for your next meal planning session.
And there
It's
will
great.
be plenty of archived recipes on that website
Absolutely.
as well.
Lots of archived recipes, especially by season.
Yes. And we're in the spring season, so
We
that's
are.
why we're doing this spring salad.
This is it.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for your time today, Janet.
Thank you.
Great to
Thank
see you
Barry.
again.
You too, as always.
Thanks, guys, for watching. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you back here again real soon.